Okay, so the way I wanted to go through this, because it's not a very straightforward topic to demonstrate, as it requires some knowledge of the ERP. It requires data to be flowing from the ERP to our application and back. So what I wanted to do is just talk a little bit about the objective of today's demo. And the number one objective is for you to understand how the data flow works between Nakisa HR Suite and any ERP for that matter, whether it's SuccessFactors, SAP, Workday, or Oracle, or any other ERP. I wanted to showcase an integration scenario. Now I chose SuccessFactors just because it's easier to demonstrate in 30 minutes. That's the only time I have. If I were to choose SAP HCM, it would take me a little bit longer just because of the integration and the technology that is being used for the integration. Same with Workday. So I'm showing this in SuccessFactors because it's easier to demonstrate it in the time I have allocated. The org design use case I'm going to cover, again, for the write back, it will be just a very simple. The idea is not to go through a complex transformation with a lot of changes, but just to show you what happens if I do a position change, position move via drag and drop. Again, the intention of this is not to use HR Suite as an org management tool, but to use it as a transformation tool to support your organizational design and your business objectives. The fourth objective or a takeaway from this demonstration is to understand the importance of synchronization. What does synchronization mean? And why is it important to ensure data integrity and consistency? What happens if the ERP is transactional, changes happen? How do you ensure that you have consistency and conflict resolution taken care by the HR Suite? So from a data flow in today's demonstration, just very quickly, we will be pulling data out of SuccessFactors into our HR Suite using OData API. There is a two-step process. I'm not going to cover 1A. This is a one-time full extraction that we do, but there are delta processes. So when I change something in SuccessFactors, I can push it to Nakisa HR Suite source via the delta process. When you create a scenario, the data flow from the source to the scenario happens in two ways. Number one, at the time I create the scenario, we copy the data from the org chart source or from the Hanley source into the scenario, allowing you to edit it and modify it without impacting, of course, your data that you have in your production ERP. The second part is synchronization, a very important process. Let's say you're working in a large transformation project that is taking you a month to complete. Data is constantly changing in SuccessFactors. How do you make sure that these changes are being merged with the model that you're working on? So you're always working on an up-to-date scenario or an up-to-date model. So that's taken care by the Nakisa HR Suite. And this synchronization works even if you have an Excel process to upload the data. It doesn't have to be a fully integrated solution with an ERP. So if you bring in the delta updates on a regular basis via Excel to Nakisa HR Suite, I can still trigger the synchronization between my source and scenario. The last part of the process is the write back. Now, you may be reluctant for the write back. You're worried about your complex business rules and validations that you have to go through. So you do have two options. Of course, we go through a workshop with you. We understand what your needs are and what we need to configure in terms of the write back to work successfully. But it's important to note that we do have the automated write back. And if you don't want to use it, there's also a very comprehensive change report that you can leverage for the manual data maintenance operations into your ERP. Okay, so that's the data flow at a high level. Again, I will showcase it in my demo. Just to level set and to explain to you what I'm going to be doing before I actually do it, so that it's easier for you to follow what I'm showing you. This will be a structure in Nakisa HR Suite, which is coming from SuccessFactors. And what I want to do is do very simple changes, change a title, and move this executive assistant position to the new position, which is Senior VP of Finance. It's not a new position, it's an existing position that I changed the title of. So that's step 1 and 2. Once I've done that, I'm going to go into SuccessFactors to make it more interesting. I will change data in SuccessFactors that will create a conflict in my application. And the conflict could be that certain positions were modified in SuccessFactors and were also modified in the model. For example, maybe someone goes into SuccessFactors, changes the VP of Finance position to Chief Financial Officer, CFO. what does that mean then for our scenario? Which is the correct position? Is it CFO or is it SVP, which is what I changed in my scenario? And I will also show a change of just a simple change that is not conflicting because it impacts a position that I did not touch. For example, VP of IT, I will modify that to Senior VP of IT. Okay. Following that, we will trigger the Delta process to update my org chart source and then trigger the synchronization. So we're able to understand what conflicts there are and then resolve these conflicts, do the write back into SuccessFactors, and then the final step after the write back is to validate that it actually worked. So I will go back into SuccessFactors to ensure that this write back did indeed work. Okay, so that's the overall very high level process. And because it's a lot of things to do, so I'm going to start right away into the demonstration of it. So this is Nakisa HR Suite. Again, this is connected with SuccessFactors, our SuccessFactors instance. And the organization in question, just to show you, is the President United Kingdom. So this is an organization headed by Sam Martin. Now, this is a position-to-position hierarchy. Depending on your ERP, you may be getting a different structure. It could be organizational structure, but I'll be doing the demo on a position management. Okay, and this is the position that I want to change, and I want to move the executive assistant under the VP of Finance. So that's very simple. So I go ahead, I create a scenario. That's the first step. Now, for the interest of time, I've created that scenario already so that we don't waste time waiting for a few minutes for the scenario or the data to be copied. So I'm just going to load the scenario here. And you can see I created the objectives and the description for my scenario. I'll go ahead and load it, and we'll do the change very quickly. Okay. So again, the change is very simple. I will change the VP of Finance position. I will edit it. And I will edit that position to become the Senior VP of Finance. Of course, I can edit other attributes. But again, the idea is to focus on my the simple use case that I just explained. I will move Alexis Moore executive assistant position under SVP. So I'll just simply drag and drop that position in here, and then I'm basically done with my changes. And of course, as you know, before that, every single change that you've done is tracked in the audit log report. So I can immediately know that these are the 2 changes that I've done. And you can click on any of the changes. It will tell you who did the change, Jens Bear. So this would be the HRBP persona as described by Bram earlier. He's the creator of the org design. He's doing some changes. Maybe he collaborates with other users. Of course, that is a possibility. And you will see for every change the original value, the new value, etc. Okay, so we've done step number 1. Step number 2 now, I'm going to go out of Nakisa HR Suite and go into SuccessFactors to create the conflict that I wanted to demonstrate. So this is the position management in SuccessFactors. Again, it looks a little bit different than our application, of course. I will focus on Sam Martin's organization. And here I will do 2 changes. Let's start with the simple change, which is non-conflicting change, which is VP of IT. So I'm just going to quickly change this data. I will edit this position as of today. I will change the position title to Senior VP of IT. In fact, I will even, instead of making it information technology, I will simplify it to IT, and I will save. And I will do another change. I'll just wait for this to be refreshed. You can see here, Senior VP of IT. That's the change I've done in SuccessFactors. And the other change is the conflicting change that I want to do, which is to rename VP of Finance to a new position, or to give it a different name. And the new position title will be CFO. So I will again go to the position title field and change that to CFO. Okay, I've done that change now. So this is successfully completed. So now the new organizational structure in SuccessFactors following these 2 transactions look like this. Now, before we trigger the write back and do all that, I need to make sure that the synchronization takes effect. And I cannot wait until the Delta process to be triggered. So what I will do is I will trigger it manually because I only have 30 minutes. I cannot wait overnight until this process, the scheduler runs. So I will just trigger it manually using the back end of Nakisa HR Suite, the manager page or the admin console page. So again, I will go into the data integration. I'll go to the SuccessFactors data extraction. I will, I think I need to go back again because I had the session open for a while. Okay, so now we can go again. So change level, data integration, we'll go into SuccessFactors data extraction. And from there, I will go to the mapping, which defines, this is the wrong mapping, this is the templates, because we can also extract pictures and other data from SuccessFactors, but I will load the actual data mapping, which is the custom mapping. And I will trigger the delta update process. So again, it's very easy. You select the operation, delta extraction, and what delta extraction does is it makes a comparison from the last time you did the extraction to now, and will only push the delta changes. So if there are changes in positions or changes in employee records, you'll be able to see it. And you can actually monitor that extraction process that happens from SuccessFactors to Nakisa HR Suite as we go. Now, luckily, this happened very, very fast because we don't have, we have around 1,600 records, maybe a bit more from SuccessFactors, so that delta process takes a few seconds. Now we are done with that. I will do one last trick, which is, again, this is a developer trick. You don't need to worry about it, which is called invalidate caches. And the reason behind this, because I don't want to wait, I think I mistyped it, invalidate. I don't want to wait for the caches to automatically be every 15 or 10 minutes. I want the data to immediately show the refreshed values very quickly. So let me go back again. Sorry, I'll just try it again here. I will go to the manager page and I'll try it again because I mistyped it, invalidate hashes. Okay, so with that done, and again, don't worry about the step. All we did is we triggered the delta, so the changes from here now should go into our Nakisa HR Suite applications. If I go to the position reporting hierarchy and just reload it, so it gives me the refreshed changes that just happened. I will do that very quickly. I went to full screen. I'm going to load the structure once more. I will switch to one panel mode so we get a better view of the organizational structure. We'll go into President Best Run EMEA, which is the organization where I did the changes. We'll go to President United Kingdom. And if everything went according to plan, we should be able to see the changes that I just did in SuccessFactors going into our org chart source. This is not the design that I've worked on. You can see here, this is CFO, and the IT organization is now Senior VP of IT. This happened to be a vacant position. That's why you see no incumbent here. So the changes did, in fact, update from SuccessFactors into our org chart source. So now let's go back again into our organizational design. And we know that we've done two changes here. So what would be the next step? Let's say I'm done with the changes. I'm happy. I don't need to do any more changes. I can set this as finalized. I can set this as approved. Of course, you might have multiple different work areas. You might have different collaborators that are contributing to the org design based on these different work areas. But what I will do is, again, looking at Bram's process where he invites the audit team or the data management team. These are the guys that have access to the write back. So I'm going to share the entire scenario with the person, the SF admin, who in this case is Anya Singh. And she's the person that has the write back or the write back role in Nakisa HR Suite. So she's authorized to perform the write back in SuccessFactors from our application, or write back to SuccessFactors from our application. So with that done, I'm going to proxy out of the application, and I'm going to go back in as Anya so that we show you quickly what Anya sees when she logs in. Okay. So now Anya logs on to Nakisa HR Suite. She also gets an email notification if you have email notification set up. And once Anya is in, she gets a notification here, says that, oh, Jens Bear has shared the scenario with you, the President United Kingdom scenario. So she goes in there and she can then go ahead and trigger a synchronization process. So she creates a new report just to make sure that data is consistent and all the changes that happen in SuccessFactors from the time the scenario was created are being merged. And if there's any conflicts, we need to resolve these conflicts before we trigger the write back process. So here you go. Now we do have conflicts, and we were expecting that because the position, which was VP of Finance at the time I've created the scenario, was modified in SuccessFactors to be CFO. And someone also, Jens Bear, who is the owner of the org design scenario, modified it to be senior VP of Finance. And now the application is asking, you got to choose what is the correct position. Do you want to keep the SuccessFactors position title change, or do you want to keep the senior VP of Finance? So in this case, I will just keep the senior VP of Finance position. But there's also another change, which is a non-conflicting change, which is the rename of the VP of IT to senior VP of IT. This is a change that happened in SuccessFactors that doesn't really conflict with my scenario because I did not touch the VP of Information Technology position in any way or form when I was doing my organizational design. So I will go ahead and select Senior VP to take over. So CFO, I don't want that position title, so I will apply this change. I will sync. And now this ensures that my scenario is synced before I can go to the next step, which is the write back. I'll give it a few minutes. And this summary chart just shows you the different types of conflicted actions or modified actions for positions or employees as well, depending on the type of action. Okay, so sync is completed. I will go back to the scenario management page. Now we are ready for the write back. I can set it as completed. Once the scenario is completed, you cannot do any more changes. It's locked. No one can touch it. And Anya Singh, you can see her here. I'm logging in as Anya. She now gets the write back option that she can trigger the write back into SuccessFactors. She can, of course, run other validations before she does the write back. But for now, I'm just going to go and prepare a new report for the write back. So again, it will check because maybe some changes happened as well between the time it was approved until this. So there's a sync that also that is triggered prior to the write back as well to just make sure that again the data integrity is aligned with the back end. Okay, so it's showing me conflicted. So I think something with the sync didn't fully go, but that's not a problem. I can just quickly apply it again. And then everything is resolved. And now you can see the write back option is enabled. So I will click on the write back. I will choose, this is an extra validation step where she has to enter her username, the company ID that and the password in order to do the write back. So this is an extra validation that we have for the users that have the write back role. And you can see here the message writing. So now it's trying to write the changes in SuccessFactors. So we'll wait again a few seconds for this to be completed. And once this is completed, I wanted to go back in SuccessFactors to just validate that this has indeed been written successfully, but it says it here. If there are any validations that fail, when we invoke the OData API call to write back the changes of our scenario into SuccessFactors, this will say failed, and you will get an error message so that you know that it was not successful. So you were not able to commit your changes. Otherwise, you will get a green message here saying that the changes were written into SuccessFactors. So let's go back quickly into the position management SuccessFactors. I'm going to refresh this page. Okay, and we'll go back into the same structure that we did the changes to. So we have it here, President Sam Martin, President United Kingdom. And you can see what the changes look like. So you can see here the CFO was overwritten to be SVP of Finance, and the executive assistant that was under the President of United Kingdom is now under the Senior VP of Finance. So this is the two changes that I've done in my model. Of course, the Senior VP of IT, I did not touch this as part of my model, so there was no impact there. That remains as is. but you can see that these changes have been written back successfully in SuccessFactors. Okay, so I'm going to pause. I think we still have maybe a minute or two if there's any questions, and then I will go ahead and just talk a little bit about what does this mean for SAP HCM, what does it mean for SuccessFactors, and what are our plans as well for other ERPs. So any questions so far? You can also use the chat if you'd like to post any question. I'll be happy to take it. Ram must be thinking, oh, this is so much easier than SAP HCM. And that has to do, of course, with the APIs that we have, which allows us to directly connect and integrate. But with SAP HCM, it works the exact same way. And just instead of API or data, we're using RFCs, which stands for remote function calls. So these are standard SAP function modules that are being invoked by Nakisa HR Suite to push data back into SAP HCM. It's very, very important that we always take a phased approach when it comes to onboarding new clients with Nakisa HR Suite. We don't go with right back right away because it's important to understand their business processes, their data model, their business rules, the validations that we need to take into account before we can trigger such, before we enable such capabilities. Okay, but of course, natively it is available in our solution. Okay, so since there are no questions, I'm going to go back to the presentation just very quickly, see what we covered. So we were here, and then finally, of course, after you wrote back the data from Nakisa HR Suite to SuccessFactors. So this is the final picture that you've seen. Once you trigger another Delta update, of course, or wait for the scheduler that you have enabled that is running on a regular basis, the changes that happen will update in your source as well. So now you have the full picture showing in Nakisa HR Suite baseline as well. Okay. So with that said, just to touch very quickly on the use cases that we have. So pre-configured out-of-the-box capabilities for write back. Of course, we go through an assessment, we go through workshops with you before we enable it, but it covers org unit related activities, it covers position related activities that you may be doing. So modifying org unit or position attributes such as the description of the object, the name or the short description or the abbreviation, company codes, personal area, sub area, cost centers, etc. So there's employee group, subgroup, job assignment. There's a lot of relationships as well. If you're familiar with SAP HCM, anything that impacts the OM or the organizational management structure, such as org unit to org unit relationships or positions assigned to org units or chief positions of an org unit, or the jobs that describe the position. So all of these relationships, as well as the incumbent to the position, because you can move an employee from one position to the other. But we're writing back into OM. We don't write back into PA info types because you typically would have synchronization between OM and PA in place. So if we write back to OM, we expect PA to be updated based on the changes that you've done in OM. Again, we don't write back into PA info types. The only exception, which is also not PA, it's OM, is moving an employee from one position to the other. And that is, again, the relationship which is between the employee and the position 008 that we can write back. And that covers basically what we do in terms of the write back for SAP HCM. You can always go to the feature checklist and field mapping document. It provides a lot of information on what can be written back natively. You are not restricted to this. If you do have any other requirements or any other info types or tables that you want to write back to, do please contact us. We are already in workshops with existing clients today to enable this capability based on their business process, based on their fields and the requirements that they have. On SuccessFactors, very similar. Again, the write back use cases are related to positions mostly because we are integrating with position management natively. If you have a company structure, do contact us because it will work a little bit different. But we write back, we create new positions, we can clone positions, we can modify positions, and this can be written back. And all of the attributes of the position, like legal entity, business units, departments, divisions, all of these foundational objects, we could also write it back, as well as movement of positions, change of incumbent, FTE allocations, full-time equivalents of the position, delimiting a position, etc. Okay. So with that said, this covers the HR Suite demo on the write back. Again, if you didn't follow the whole picture, don't worry, because we will share the presentation, the video with you, so you can always refer to it. But I wanted to quickly showcase you that write back because it could be relevant, and it will introduce a lot of efficiencies for you. Projects that used to take you, I don't know, a month or so to complete, it will save you a lot of time and effort with write back enabled, and will introduce a lot of efficiencies for you. Okay, so with that said, I'll pass over to Phil.